All right, this is workflow number 3, and number 3 is going to be doing a quote for signage and vehicle wraps. So we're going to do the exact same thing we did for apparel. We're going to make our customer information in there, put your customer in there, come to add a product, and for vehicle wraps, we're going to click it, and we put a database in here for vehicles. Now, it's still in a work in progress just because there's a lot of variables involved with this, but it's got most of the major brands, and like this repo that we use for this, like there's several, there's affordable trailers, so like all this stuff. We're trying to work on filtering a lot of this stuff out and just getting the true models and stuff. So I mean they're all here, but you have to kind of just scroll through. So we're just gonna go with the F350. Oh, I gotta click for that and confirm. So from there, it's gonna give you basically, it's going to use the truck presets that you have set up in the print and wrap settings. You could change them square footage however you want for the coverage. You can also use measurements here, and you can put them in that way. You can add multiple measurements, so on and so forth. Or you could just use the presets. Like I said, you want to make sure that your presets are actually true to what the size of the vehicle is. So if you're pretty good with knowing what your square footage of material is going to be, you could just type it in here. From there, you could select your wrap vinyl, and if you got window perf, you can add that in here as well for square footage wise. You could put in your design hours, your removal. If it's complex, you can make it real high. If you're doing prep wash, prep chemicals, stuff that you really don't think about whenever you're wrapping stuff, include your setup fee, and if there's a rush fee involved, if you got a service appointment, you can put that in there for whenever you're wanting to get it in. And from there, once you're done with that, you click the green button. That makes a quote for that. If you need to add miscellaneous stuff, just click add product, miscellaneous, put in whatever it is. If you know what your cost is, you want to make a certain markup, you just put, we'll just say it costs us $30. We want to do a markup of 200%, $90, roll with it. Then from there, once you have your quote, you just click save draft. And if you got wrap proofs, you can come in here and you can actually put in your front, left, right, rear, and each one of these can be its own picture. Notes to customer, you can export to a PDF where it's all combined on like a PDF to print out for your customer, or you can send them an approval link once you have it saved, and you can send for approval. So that is pretty much doing a quote for a vehicle wrap. Now we're going to make a new line item here for signs and decals. So this right here is pretty powerful. So we do at my shop, Bigfoot Designs, we do apparel and we do signage and decals and wraps. So we do a little bit of everything, and my biggest thing has always been, it's always been a pain to price out like decal jobs and stuff like that. And when we made this, I wanted to make it super fast to quote these irritating jobs that, are just, they're a pain to deal with. But like right here, like vinyl decals, you got your product type, you got vinyl decals, banners, magnets, coroplast, and rigid substrate. Your coroplast can be in your rigid substrate too as well. But most coroplasts, we're talking about like yard signs, stuff like that. So when you're on vinyl decals, you got your standard smaller size decals. When you're doing production runs, like you can click a 3x3 and it'll automatically put it down in here. From there, you can select your vinyl and your laminate. After you select your vinyl, you'll actually get these quantity breaks, and it'll show you what your quantity breaks is based off what you have set up in the settings. And this factors in your discount rate that you do. So, if you're on the phone with a customer and they're wanting 100 decals, well, then you could say, well, for just a few dollars more or a few cents more or less, per piece, you're going to save 26% off or whatever it is. And you can upcharge, a little bit to get it more of an order. So not only that, when you come to banners, you got your standard banner sizes. You can click for before. All these you can change however you want. But magnets, you got your standard magnet sizes. Coroplast, you got your standard coroplast sizes. Rigid substrate, you got your standard sizes for it too as well. And it's all the same way. Like if you have a rigid substrate, if you got 12 by 18 street sign, come to your substrate. Your substrates is what you're going to set up in your material section in the settings menu from our first video, so you can check it out. So we're going to say that's a 6mm ACM panel. You're going to put vinyl over top of it. And I do have a request from any of our customers that does signage, that does direct to print, like where you print directly onto like the substrate. Get a hold of me and let me know the flow for that, because we don't do that at my shop, but I want to make sure that's going to be a feature that we add, because I know there's a lot of shops that do print directly onto the substrate. Right now, I don't have, I want to make sure however we implement it that it's right for your shop. So get a hold of me at operations@opsbuilt.net. That's our email. But anyways, you can click your substrate, your vinyl, your laminate. If you got a lot of ink coverage, you can change that where it'll adjust it some. The complexity, your design hours, install hours. If you do CNC work, you can put in here how many hours you do by half hour or however you want to do it. You can type it in. If there's a CNC note that you need to leave for somebody, you can put that there. Grommets, if you're doing grommets and banners. Your H stakes, if you need to add H stakes. Your setup fee, depending on what kind of job we got going on. Sometimes we'll charge a setup fee depending on what it is. Sometimes we don't. Then you got your rush fee. You can override these prices too, but it gives you your calculated price, what your per price is, based off like the quantity that you got going on right now, and what your current square footage cost is for signage. And all of this changes based off everything that you do. So if the profit don't look good enough, bump that complexity thing up to 50%, your ink coverage up to 150, and if it's still not a lot, come down here to override price and type whatever you want. Once what you have there, you click the green button, saves that. It'll show you what your profit is here, your margin on everything, and from there, you can click Save Draft, and that is how you save a quote. So this is a video for saving a quote for wraps and decals and signage. So the next video is going to be getting into the actual production board. So watch for the next video on that. Thank you guys.